What's up, YouTube? Hopefully you guys can hear me okay with this microphone and this noisy Honda Accord. Today we're out cruising in my absolutely filthy and disgusting, because I haven't cleaned it in forever, 1994 Honda Accord. Two-door, 5-speed, as you can see. It's fun. 2.2 liter single overhead cam VTEC 4-cylinder. Yeah, race ready. Well, not really. So it's kind of loud if you can hear. It's not because I put an exhaust or anything dumb on it like that. The factory muffler, just the pipe before it kind of rusted off. So I had to pull the muffler off because it was dragging on the ground. And I've just been too lazy to fix it. I guess the only other performance part that's on this thing is I put in a cone filter. Yeah, I know, right? It's real performance. Just because my paper air filter was dirty and nasty and needed to be replaced, and I think I bought this one for like $10 at Vato Zone or something, so whatever. So we're just out cruising today. I literally haven't drove this thing in like a month, so I need to get it out and stretch the legs a little bit. This was the car I was talking about in the previous video that I'm looking to sell. Not because it's a bad car or anything, but just because I really need something with 4 doors, and it's hard to get a child in the back seat with 2 doors. So it's a nice shop. Someday I'm gonna have a nice shop like that. Life goals, you know. Right now I've got this teeny tiny 1-car garage that I can barely fit one of my Camaros in, and the only reason it fits is because I have the nose off of it. And so then my solution to that, to getting more room to actually do some work, was I got one of those portable tent garages, one of the easy up garages, and I put it right in front of my garage door, so it like extends the garage out. And I half-ass wired in some lights and some other nonsense out there just so I can see what I'm doing. So, you know, it's still cold in the winter and hot in the summer, but it keeps the rain and snow off you. And, you know, in the winter I can run the heater and I can get, you know, 45, 50 degrees out there. So it's, you know, that's bearable. I can work in that. So, yeah, we're just cruising around Central Illinois today. Headed into town. I got some errands to run. Old Chevy. So yeah, I figure I'd kind of talk a little bit about this car. I had to take my dog to the vet this morning, and so I got this thing fired up, and literally after like a month, maybe a month and a half, 2 months of sitting there, it fired right up, like first crank, just on. It's pretty impressive considering that, you know, this car is old, and what's it got, 157,000 miles on it, but being a 94, I guess it's not that much for the year, but that still runs good. It's tight. There aren't really any squeaks or rattles or anything. The only thing that rattles is this freaking change tray because the muffler's off and it vibrates a little bit. Yeah, the suspension's still pretty solid. The brakes were rusted on it this morning, so I go to stop and it's just this, you know, until you get the rust cleaned off of the rotors. So that was interesting, and I think one of the tires might have been a little like flat spotted. I had to put air in all of them because there's a slow leak. But on the interstate, it was vibrating a little bit. But now that I've driven it a few miles, it seems to have stopped. So I think the tire was just maybe not so happy that it sat in one position for too long. Somebody's been laying burnouts there. So. Stop sign. Where do we go? Go this way. Oh, she's a runner. We got a runner here. I mean, it'll run and get 30 miles to the gallon while you do that all day long. So my theory on these Hondas is they're so freaking reliable. Like, Honda is known for reliability. That's never a question. I think one of the reasons a lot of them are so damn reliable is A, because they're over-engineered. The Japanese engineers really put a lot of thought and time and effort into engineering a quality brand that's actually going to last. Oh, I better slow down. It's 45. Don't want to get a ticket. So that's one of the reasons. Secondly, there's no power to break anything, right? I mean, the thing makes like a whopping, I don't know, what is this thing, man? 100 and maybe 40 horsepower, because it's, I don't even know if it's that much. You know, this engine makes decent torque for what it is. I think some people call it the big block of Hondas. I don't know. I could be wrong on that, just because it's a little bit bigger of a four-cylinder displacement than being the 2.2. You know, the thing doesn't make any power, so how's it going to break anything, right? Especially when everything's over-engineered. You know, like you take a stock 4th-gen Camaro with GM's, 7.5-inch diameter ring gear 10-bolt in it, and you break down with stock tires, you know, on everything stock, just launching it too hard. They're just made of glass. You know, sometimes I wish the GM would take a page from the Honda book and, you know, maybe over-engineer their stuff a little bit. You know, maybe go for a little bit better quality. I think that's probably why some of the, a lot of the foreign manufactured cars are selling better in this country than the domestically produced cars, you know, or domestic companies, I should say. Because we all know, you know, Toyota and a lot of those other companies, maybe even like Hyundais and stuff, I think a lot of them are built here in the state, or assembled here in the States. You know, I'm sure using foreign-made parts, but it is what it is. Wow, slowpoke, I should have gone. I hate that when you misjudge traffic really, really badly. Then you wait for forever. I need to get an exhaust on this car. Even if I... Oh, that's cool. Even if I just take like a... Wow. I hung up second and third. That figures. I do that 100 times and never a problem. As soon as I turn on the camera, I get it stuck between third and fifth. This shifter's kind of sloppy, so that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, like I was saying, I need to do something with this exhaust. Like, even if I just get a pipe going out the back and slap some like cheap Amazon fart can on it or something, it would be so much more tolerable inside. Like right now, I don't know how the mic's picking it up, but it's droning so bad. I mean, it's not the worst car I've ever ridden in, but it's droning pretty good. And it makes shit rattle like this change tray. I mean, listen to that. When I don't have my water bottle in there, it just rattles. You know, I could probably take the change out of there, but I'm too lazy. Obviously, since I don't even clean the dang thing. You can see dog hair all over the dash. It's disgusting. And but the crazy thing is, this car is still cleaner than my wife's car. My wife has like a Ford Edge. It's only a few years old. But you know how women are. They never clean their shit. Like, I go to hop in and go somewhere with her, and I gotta like scoop like fast food wrappers and cups and straws and, you know, all kinds of, like, even the mail, because we have a post office box. We have to go get our mail. Even like the mail and stuff, you know, I gotta scoop it off and get it on the floor just so I can sit in the freaking seat. You know, I don't know what it is with women and being messy in their cars, but they just are, and it drives me nuts. I think the only way that car gets washed is if A, I wash it, or B, I tell her to go take it to the automatic car wash and rinse the damn salt off of it. Which I've done a few times in the middle of winter just because it was so nasty and so salty. You know, instead of taking the, 15 minutes to just go to the pressure washer, whenever, you know, you have a day that's above freezing in the middle of winter and just hose it off. You know, just throw some soap on there and hose it off. Try to get some of the salt off the dang thing. Keep it from rusting to pieces. You know, instead of just spending 15 minutes and do that, she'll wait and like she'll just go all winter without washing it at all. And yeah, it's a nasty mess come spring. So I don't know what it is about women in their cars, but it's kind of gross, and it kind of almost disgusts me. As I say that, riding in my dirty, nasty car. But this is the beater that I don't really drive very often. So I don't know. I need to get it cleaned up so I can think about selling it. I'll load it on my little brother or buddy or somebody. I don't know. I hate trying to sell crap on Craigslist. I mean, because then you get a-holes that'll lowball you, and then I've had people come and like try to just joyride stuff, going on a test drive and just joyride your stuff, and that is not cool. Especially if like you have a fun car or a nice car or something like a Mustang or Camaro you're trying to sell, and some a-hole comes down from Chicago and just wants to joyride it. Yeah, that's another story. You know what? I'll tell that story. So years ago, I had an '88 Mustang GT, one of the Fox bodies. Let's see what all they have done to it. I had it basically in like black primer. I mean, the body was straight. It wasn't rusty really. There was a couple little spots, nothing major. But it was just a flat black. I had like a big it was like a 5 or a 6 inch cowl hood on it, fiberglass cowl hood. I had the black pony rims. I had some drag radials on the back. Let's see here. it was still the stock 302 bottom end that I put, let's see, I had GT40P heads. I had the GT40 intake headers, basically all the bolt-ons and stuff you could get. Had a different serpentine system and all kinds of other little things like that. I mean, the car moved. I think I had it was an AOD car though, so I did have a little bit of a stall converter. And if you know anything about AODs, the Ford AODs, they suck. They never go in the gear you want them to go into. I did a shift kit, and I did the quote epoxy mod. I don't know if some of you older Mustang guys would remember that one, where like you go in there with your 2-part epoxy, and you take, I think you take a couple, I think you gotta take a couple check balls out, drill a couple holes, and then you basically fill a couple of the cavities in with this 2-part epoxy, and it basically reroutes the fluid and everything and makes it to where you can manually hold the gear and whatever you want, which it worked really well, and it actually shifted pretty hard. The only issue I had is that at wide open throttle, anything more than 3/4 throttle, it would not hold overdrive. So like I'd be roll racing one of my buddies on the interstate, and you know, I'd run out of gear real quick, because racing, it was like having a 3-speed transmission, you know, with a 373 gear and a converter. You know, it wasn't the greatest for top end, being it had like 26-inch tall tires on the rear. So, and I didn't want to spin the shit out of it, you know, RPM wise. So anyway, I have this thing up for sale, right? And I don't remember what I advertised it at. It's been so long ago. But I had a couple people that were interested in it. I actually had 2 different people, 2 different parties show up to look at it at the exact same time once. And I was like, because I had a couple guys that wanted to look at it different parts of the day, and I was like, okay, you know, maybe an hour apart or something. And I told the second guy, I've got some guy coming to look at it. You're more than, you know, welcome to come, you know, an hour after he does or whatever if he's not interested. Well, so they both show up at the same freaking time, so that was great. One of the dudes ended up just leaving, which I'm not surprised. I would have too, but anyway, so. Well, that sucked. Like the place I was going, I guess the thing I was going to got canceled, because I show up and the freaking like parking lot was completely empty, and like the name of the place freaking changed. So apparently somebody bought the place, and the word didn't get out that the event was canceled, or at least I didn't get the message. So anyway, what was I talking about? So anyway, yeah, so the one guy left. So the one guy left. So the other guy's staying there, and he's checking out the car or whatever. And I don't know, he's picking it apart. You know how it is. And then I don't know what he must thought I was bullshitting about something. He left. Well, anyway, the next day, I had some guy and his girlfriend drive all the way down from Chicago, someplace up in Chicago, and they wanted to look at the car. So I was like, yeah, come on down. So he shows up, and oh yeah, I want to take it for a test drive. Okay, well, you know, I figured he drove all the way from Chicago. This guy's obviously serious about buying it, right? So it's all right. So we get in it and we go cruise around a little bit, and you know, he's like, oh yeah, you mind if I open it up a little bit? I want to see how it's doing. Mind you, we're in town, like we are on residential streets, like close to where I lived at the time. And I was like, yeah, sure, just, you know, don't be crazy or nothing. So okay, so he gets on it once and twice, and then he just like keeps doing it. He like runs like, you know, freaking 4 or 5 times. And I was like, all right, yeah, you know, it's good, man, it runs good. And he's like, yeah. So we get back to my house, and the dude's like, hey, you mind if I take my girlfriend for a ride? And I was like, okay, I need to preface this. I was young and naive back then too. Nowadays, I would never let this crap happen. But back then, I hadn't sold too many cars at that point, and I kind of always gave everybody a benefit of the doubt. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, I was hesitant, but I was like, you know, if you just want to go up and down the block or something, I mean, whatever. So I let him do it. Well, the dude's freaking like raping it up and down the block, like making pulls, like 5 or 6 pulls, like right in front of my house. And so then he gets back, and you know, I'm pretty ticked off at that point. But you know, I was a pretty shy and timid guy back then, so I maybe like didn't get it. I wasn't as angry as I should have been, I guess, or maybe I don't know. But anyway, so he gets back, and I was like, yeah, you know, so you know. You know, let's talk money here. Let's talk business. You know, obviously, you know, the car runs good. You like it. You know, you gonna make me an offer? And I told him how much it was or whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, well, you know, he starts him-hawing around or whatever. And I was like, I don't remember what he said. Something to me that made me think he didn't have any money. And I was like, well, you did bring cash, right? He's like, no, I didn't bring any cash with me. I was like, are you freaking serious? Like, I about lost my cool then. I was like, look, dude, you ran the piss out of my car in front of my house, back and forth, up and down, and you didn't even bring cash with you? I was like, just go. Like, just get out. And he's okay, and he just left. So, hey, how you doing? So anyway, yeah, that was a bad experience, and that was my own damn fault, of course, too. Just being young and naive, it kind of, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't let that crap happen to me now. But yeah, that really pissed me off. And so if you're ever selling a car, especially like a hot rod, you know, if somebody wants to get on it, you know, once or twice to check things out, okay, cool, you know. I mean, make sure they're not getting stupid in your car. But then again, don't let them take it for a freaking joyride. Like, I should have beat the guy's ass. I really should have. And yeah, I guess that was just a learning. We'll chalk that one up to learning experience, and never again, you know. So yeah, so that's the story about me selling my Mustang and letting some guy joyride it. And you know, I don't want to stereotype people, but it seems like people from Chicago and bigger cities are just shady. Like, I don't know, something about them, the way they are, they're just shady. Like, bigger city, like, they're out to get everybody kind of deal. Maybe that's my perception, just being a small town guy. But like, every time I talk with somebody from a big city, like, I just get this feeling like they're out to screw you. And you know, maybe there's something to that. Maybe that's just the Chicago way. I don't know. But anyway, needless to say, I ended up selling that car to a kid that lived, this kid came, I don't know, almost 2 hours, and I think he was like 16, or I mean, I don't even know if he was 16, he might have been like 15 and a half and had his learner's permit. Like, I don't think he had his driver's license yet, and this was going to be his first car, and his mom drove up with him, or no, he had to have been, maybe he did have a learner's permit, I don't remember. It was either he was just turned 16 or just had his learner's permit. His mom came up with him, and maybe there was somebody else too, I don't remember. But So he bought the car, and his mom, I remember his mom couldn't figure out the shifter. Like, she was gonna drive it back, and she couldn't even figure out the shifter because it was one of the B&M like hammer, like ratchet shifters. You had to pull up on it to get it to go into reverse, and then pull it, and it ratchet it back and forth, like neutral drive to, and she couldn't figure that out. So I had to explain it to her like 6 times, but yeah. So I don't know. That's one of the cars I kind of wonder what happened to it, and the thing with that car is it was an old car, and there was always stuff breaking on it, and that's honestly why I got rid of it. It's not that it was, a piece of crap. It's just, I don't know. Like it was like every other week something was going wrong with it, and I daily drove it, and I needed the money because I needed something that was more reliable because I had a job and I had to get to work, and I couldn't spend hours a night fixing my car just so I could get it to go to work the next day, So anyway, I don't want to say I felt bad about selling it to the kid, but I just felt that he did not have the necessary amount of mechanical skills to keep up with that car. Yeah, I mean, it would be a great learning experience for him because he's probably fixed all kinds of crap, but it was a matter of time till something else broke on it again, and especially at the hands of a 16-year-old driver with a car that's actually pretty quick for what it was, I don't know. So anyway, I hope he enjoyed it, and I hope he was able to learn to work on it, and I hope it led to better things for him. So, but not that I miss it. I always say I miss the car, but I don't miss the engine and drivetrain. Like if it had like an LS or a small block or small block Chevy or something in it, I think it would have been a better car, probably more reliable too. But that's neither here nor there. So anyway, there's my story about my old Mustang Fox body.